Hey everyone, Crazy Jimmy here coming at you with another video. Today is going to be Acid Archives number 5, and I will continue to do these, but I wanted to make an announcement. I'll also be adding a few other things to the plate here, to my content in my channel. So in addition to Acid Archives, I'll be adding 90s underground Indian lo-fi vinyl, post-punk vinyl, a series on 70s power pop and early 80s power pop vinyl, a segment all centered around Guided by Voices, also 60s and 70s psych and Americana, and vinyl with hype stickers. So those are kind of some of the series, some of the content I'm going to be dropping here over the next several weeks, over the next several months. Also, I'd like to thank the following. First, I'd like to thank Dom from Seeking a Thread for name dropping and promoting this new channel of mine. Really appreciate it, Dom. Thank you so much. Also, I'd like to thank others that have been listening and subscribing. And then those of you that I actually watch and been watching over the years. So Psyche Derek, thank you Derek. University of Vinyl, that's Tim's channel. Vinyl Richie, Vinyl Piper. Cosmic Vinyl, that's Brian from Cosmic Vinyl. Top 5 Records, 45 RPM Audiophile. Noble Records and Dylan. Melinda Murphy, As It Should Be, Paul Polino, Giggins, and Parlogram Auctions, and that's Andrew from Parlogram, who's fantastic. So there's many more channels I'm subscribed to and I watch, but those are just some that I recommend checking out and really appreciate your support as well. So today's submission is going to be this artist, Stevie Moore. And the first album from the Acid Archives, there's actually 2 from Stevie Moore. There's his first one from 1976 called Phonography. And his second one, which is also in the archives, called Delicate Tension. So the first one we're going to go through is this first one here. This happens to be an original pressing from 1976. Only 100 of these were made, and some of them have the blank backing, some don't. This one happens to have no backing, but the front is like a collage style, and it's a pasted on slick that Stevie did himself. These are all DIY, and not only that, but everything he did was DIY. He started recording in 1966, yet his first album was not put out until 76, and that's this one here, Phonography. And there's the original labels. Now, if you're wondering, yeah, I know Stevie, but I've never seen this original on video or live and in person, and that's because there was only 100 of them pressed, and from what I heard, Frank Zappa owns a few of them, so there's really not 100 of them out there in the wild, so it's going to be really hard to find. Plus, he has a huge cult following, and so most of these are owned by either A, celebrities, or B, his biggest fans, so you're not going to see too many of these come up for auction or come up for sale. I do not believe any have been sold on Discogs at all. And if you go into Pop Psych, there's only a handful that have sold over the years, with nothing being sold in the last several years. So you'll find the represses for this album out there, but you're not going to find any of this original being sold anytime soon or in recent history. So that's the actual original there. And in the Acid Archive book, we'll go through that here real quick. So as I said, there's 2 albums from Stevie that are in here. The first one from 1976. There we go. So our Stevie Moore is an all-time king of do-it-yourself recordings. As for 30 years, he produced homemade cassettes and sold them to his cult audience. He produced literally hundreds of 60-minute albums. Obviously, anyone who never throws away a single idea is unlikely to have consistent albums. But his occasional LP releases are best ofs from his tapes, as the first two are. The two LPs that will be most of interest to archive readers are Phonography and Delicate Tension, the earliest on his own label. Moore's music is basically guitar pop with quirky lyrics, even quirkier arrangements, and all sorts of spoken sections, sound effects thrown in between, power pop, Zappa-esque power pop, and Todd Rundgren-like power pop. So just goes on here. He's comparable to oddball bands like Ohio, who I've never heard of, except that he has much more of a knack for a pop hook than any post-Zappa or semi-prog weirdos. So it sounds like Ohio's like a Zappa-type project. It's conceivable that he could have had mainstream success if the breaks went his way, but he also tended to sabotage such possibilities. For example, his catchiest pop song is called I Want to Hit You. So that would make sense. It goes on to talk a little bit about the albums. Delicate Tension's the second one, which was released a few years after his first one. And Delicate Tension, to me, is probably the better of the two albums. Obviously, the first one is the one that's of interest to most collectors. But his second album, Delicate Tension, which is this one here, I feel is the better of the two albums. They're both fantastic, but this has got the most consistency on it, the most consistent hooks and power pop tracks on this particular one. There's also some weird segments in it too. Definitely some acid psych on both of them. So definitely worthy listings. I also wanted to go ahead and show a few others. This is a second repress of the first album here, and this is again DIY, completely made by Stevie himself. So you can see there's a lot, it's signed on the back, and he's got some pasted on slicks on the front and the back. This is also, and these are numbered as well. Here's another version of what I just showed you. So two different covers of the first album. These were released in 1978, so just a couple years after the first album was released. And then Delicate Tension I showed you, and then here's some others. This is called Verve. So this is basically some of the best selections from his cassette tapes. And I'll show you a few others. This is like this is called Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Our Stevie, But We're Afraid to Ask. It's a double album. This is a great place to start, this double album here. So it has the most material on it, and it's got some of his best stuff. And then we get into some of his more hi-fi releases. Those are more lo-fi releases where he recorded on 2-track and 4-track. Keep in mind, he is the pioneer of lo-fi. There's no question about it. He's been recording since 1966 and doing everything himself in his bedroom. So that is the epitome of lo-fi and bedroom recorders. And he kind of influenced everyone that came after him. So this is one of my favorite, I wouldn't call it hi-fi, but for him it's hi-fi. But this one here is a fantastic one. This is actually a die cut. So you can see there, really great. This is called Teenage Spectacular. Great hi-fi album. This was done on 4-track and 8-track, which is hi-fi for him. And it looks like it comes with like some photos. And then we have another hi-fi for him called Glad Music, another great place to start. There. These are all from the 70s and 80s. And then we have some other compilations here I'll show you. These are some of his better compilations. This one's called Has-Beens and Never Were's. All on his HP label, by the way. This one here, our Stevie Moore 1952 to 19 ? And then this one's really good. What's the Point? Has quite a few tracks from his cassettes. All right. And we got one more, two more to show from him. We've got Clack. This is the only repress I have in the collection because this was never released on vinyl, only cassette. So they did a repress in 2017 on green wax, and that's what this is. It was cassette only prior. And then we have, this is a 1978 called Stance. This is a Stance EP. This is more of an EP. Not my favorite, but still, if you collect our Stevie Moore, you're going to want it. So that's all of them there, but definitely, if you haven't heard of him before and you like acid type power pop, Zappa-esque, Todd Rundgren, that sort of stuff, I think you'll really get into our Stevie Moore for sure. So check that out. But thank you everyone for those of you who subscribed and watch. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I do appreciate you all watching. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.